We start episode 2 of Shogun off with a flashback. We actually get to see Taiko. Now he's laying here, he's about to pass away, and we see that the heir is talking to him about where he's going to be in the past life. Now, what he wanted to do was keep a balance on things until his son was of age. Once he got to 18 years old, then he would be able to take over and rule Japan. So, what he wanted to do instead was put 5 leaders and started the council. And that's what we seen in episode 1, where they all decided to turn their back on Toranaga. Now, Taiko and Toranaga, they were very, very close friends and they were almost like family. And he was one of the most smartest men in the land. One thing that Taiko did regret was that he was not able to conquer Korea. And he was going to conquer Korea and give Japan to Toranaga. So he asked Toranaga to protect his son, knowing that there would be trouble once he passed. And that's the main reason he put the council together so no one can go against each other and they all have to come into an agreement on how things are going to be split and ran. We begin to see more of the characters and we see translators here. Now there's a translator by the name of Martin and his father's name is Del Aqua. Now what they see is that when John came over here, he was really coming over here to wage war. And at this point, he's still trying to pretend that he's a merchant in order for him to survive. Now, what they found in his manifest were the orders for him to take out any of the Portuguese. Now, it seems that the Japanese, they want this whole book translated. And before they take John and do whatever they need to do with him, they want to translate this to understand fully what he's here for. Now, Del Aqua, he sees this and he doesn't want this book to get released because if they find out this real information, this could be bad for everybody. Because Britain is against the Portuguese. Toranaga brings John in here, and we also have Martin the translator here, and we have Mariko. Now, all of them are going to come together and try to translate what John has to say. But we come to find out that John is an enemy to Martin, and Martin has to relay all of this information to Toranaga. But as he continues to be a merchant, Toranaga likes his honesty and his spirit. So for them, this is good, but no one really knows why Toranaga really wants to keep John around. Now remember, they told us in episode 1 that Toranaga was one of the smartest people in the land. So what he sees in John, no one else can quite see yet, but he has all of the translators, his most loyal people, because he is still entrapped inside of the council at this moment. He's not a free man, even though he can move freely inside of the compound because he is part of the council. Later that night, though, Toranaga explains to 2 of his advisors, his 2 leaders, Kiyama and Ono. Now, these 2 are very, very loyal to the Portuguese and those are Catholics. So he's saying that John's presence as a Protestant, it upsets them. So Toranaga uses this whole situation to his advantage by keeping John alive. He knows that he is sentenced to death and everyone else is, but this would create a conflict and prevent the other leaders from uniting against him. This is only because with John being alive and you got the Catholics and you got the Christians, it's going to be tough for them to decide where they can go. But you got to also remember that there is a ship that John came over here on. And that's one reason Toranaga told him to come over here, because he has weapons that he can potentially use later on. John still thinks that he is a guest of the council. Well, they end up throwing him in prison and he's confused about it until he meets this Englishman. His name is Father Domingo. He has been in Japan for a very, very long time and he explains that Toranaga, he's a descendant from a very, very powerful family who was next in line to claim the rule as Shogun, but his true intentions are very unclear. Domingo, he also tells John about the trade situation in Japan, where he goes over how powerful the other 4 council members are and where they come from and the reason they're all in this guy's pocket. And that's because they all came together, and this is where Toranaga is trying to put together a plan to go against them, divide and conquer. Since Japan and China won't trade directly, the Portuguese are the ones that act like a middleman, and they're making a lot of money off of this through a big ship they call the Black Ship. And this ship, it operates out of a secret base in Monaco. Now, they even have their own army of converted Japanese soldiers that are all Catholic now. So the next day, the leaders, they all meet up as planned, and the Christian leaders, they want John off. They want him out of here. But another leader, Ishido, He objects, causing a power struggle between the benefits that Toranaga could get out of all of this. With the pressure being on for Martin to get a permit for the black ship to leave Japan, it's really tough with the council starting to look at different angles and what's the real objective of Toranaga bringing this barbarian, aka John, up to the castle. There are a lot of members within inside of the castle. And Ishida, he's one of the people that are very, very weary of the church's power. So he goes and visits his old friend, the general. Now they share a common concern about the church and the Christian leaders that might take over after Toranaga's removal, because we know that his days are numbered. So this is leaving Ishida alone and vulnerable. He's seeing that John potentially has a chance to be an ally for him, but Ishida also reveals that, hey, they already signed the execution papers to go ahead and take out John. But he also helps John escape. And the reason he does this is because he hears everything that's going on and he's part of the council. So when he signs off on it, he actually sends some mercenaries out there. They attack everyone and they free John. Because remember, John, when he was talking to Toranaga earlier, Toranaga seen something no one else seen in him, and he was honest about everything. So now it's looking like they trust him a little bit, and they realize that they can potentially use him and the powers that be from Britain or any kind of help that he can send over here to stop the council from doing what they're trying to do. Now that John is released, they bring him over here. Now Mariko, she's going to help translate to Toranaga, and he's trying to propose an alliance between him, Britain, and Japan. Now he's saying that the Portuguese and the Spanish, they basically split up the world. This region, Japan, is owned by the Portuguese. So when Toranaga hears this, he's definitely not going for it, because he's saying they own us. No. That's not how we're going to play. So what John is trying to make them do is say, hey, you partner up with us. Our queen, she understands everything and she will help us out so we can help you out. Plus, there is a hidden base that's owned by the Portuguese with converted Japanese. And that's what's making things tougher to sail through. So John pretty much explains the secret details between the Portuguese and Spanish to control all of the trade routes and their plan to dominate the world, including Japan. Now, the church, they might not know this, but Toranaga, he suspects that the church knows these motives. John also revealed that in his diary that the powerful empires of Spain and Portugal, they had divided the world, including Japan, and aimed to replace the non-Catholic rulers with their own. This right here isn't sitting well with Yoshii. So, suspecting the church had some kind of involvement in this, they set up a trap. He denies the black ship. Yoshii said no one has permission to leave. And this angers everyone over at the church. This triggers an assassination attempt on John, who is sleeping. Now remember, Yoshii Toranaga, they're inside of the castle. So what happens is they send a maid over, and this maid attacks John while he's asleep. Now everyone's thinking that this assassination attempt is coming to take out Toranaga, but no. Once they get rid of the maid, they realize that they were there to take out John, because they're starting to see that maybe John is going to be very, very valuable. And this incident elevates John's importance to the complex power struggle between Toranaga and the other four members on the council. Because if he is revealing all of the secrets between Portugal and Spain on how to conquer the world, and if they bring Britain in, who's already at war with the Portuguese, this is going to be bad for the council. Their rule won't be as smooth as they want it to be. All right, there you go. The recap of episode 2 with Shōgun. We will be doing a live show Wednesday for episode 3. Or comment below, would you rather me just do the recaps in a video and we just continue on? But let me know what you think about episode 2. Episode 3 drops tonight. Make sure you watch it. Man, this show is pretty damn good. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm Mode IJ. We're on that road to 50,000 subscribers. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.